All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, the earth, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Hello, family. We are back together, convening and converging, congregating and convocating. And we are back here together again so that we can review our carnal existence through the spiritual lens of our developing eye. All praises. And of course, my continuous petition and prayer for your care, safety, peace, and harmony to the 12 tribes of the house of Israel scattered abroad wherever you may sojourn, as well as my brothers and sisters of the world. And tonight, family, we are pulling on these strings heavily and hard. We are summoning up that spiritual salvation so that we may be saved out of these carnal snares and pits and valleys and ditches and the abyss. We are facing an onslaught of an unholy agenda being pressed upon our young ones. And so we will be reading an article as we are in our spiritual evaluation of the situations that befall us in this society of our captivity, and how we are summoning those righteous forces to keep us in a hedge of protection as we persevere and endure so that we may overcome. And so tonight we are in our continuing battle against the satanic agenda of sodomy and homosexuality and transgenderism and gender identity confusion. We will be reading a USA Today article and opinion editorial written by a concerned parent of a young girl. And the title of this article is, "My daughter thinks she's transgender. Her public school undermined my efforts to help her." So family, we are now pulling back those wicked stems of this awful, evil onion of transgenderism and gender identity confusion. So in real time now, we can, as parents or potential parents, keep our increasing eye aware upon the elements of society that are pervading our children directly through their schooling and curriculum. And we began. In August 2016, my then 14-year-old daughter became convinced that she was my son. In my attempt to help her, her public school undermined me at every step of the way. Throughout my daughter's childhood, there were no signs that she wanted to be a boy. She loved stuffed animals, Pocahontas, and wearing colorful bathing suits. I can't recall a single interest that seemed unusually masculine or any evidence that she was uncomfortable as a girl. The only difficulty she had was forming and maintaining friendships. We later learned why. She was on the autism spectrum. She was very functional and did well in school, helped by her individualized education program, a common practice for public school students who need special education. At her high school, my daughter was approached by a girl who had recently come out at school as transgender. Shortly after meeting her, my daughter declared that she too was a boy trapped in a girl's body and picked out a new masculine name. All right, family. So we are hearing the story of parent Jay Kreck, who has penned this editorial opinion. And we continue. Our school kept parents in the dark. She first came out as transgender to her school, and when she announced that she was a boy, the faculty and staff who had full knowledge of her mental health challenges affirmed her. Without telling me or my wife, they referred to her by her new name. They treated my daughter as if she were a boy, using male pronouns and giving her access to gender-neutral restrooms. All right, so family, the faculty and staff of the school is promoting this confusion amongst our young people. These young people are in the burgeoning stages of receiving their pubescent hormones. Their minds are in a flux as they are trying to navigate their growing bodies and their growing independence, where the establishment of their morals and their spiritual and ethical guidelines are to be fashioned by righteous structures. But yet we have their learning institution affirming a confusion, a total lie of reality, which is calling a male a female and a female a male. When her mother and I first found out, our feelings of helplessness and astonishment made it difficult to get through each day. But I feel my daughter is a victim more than anything else. In an IEP meeting, just after she told us about being a boy, I told the school that our wishes are to call her by her legal name at all times. The social worker present at the meeting stated we have had the right to make that request. So I assumed the school staff would follow our directives. I followed up that meeting with an email, but later learned that my request was ignored and the school staff continued to refer to her by the male name. Okay, family, so even with a direct meeting with the staff of the school and the family, the parents giving direct guidelines for the operation of their child, the school acted in opposition. We met with the school district's assistant superintendent, who told us the hands of the school personnel are tied and that they had to follow the law. But there was no law. Only the Obama's administration's Dear Colleagues letter of May 2016 that said schools need to officially affirm transgender students. Just 3 months later, in August 2016, a federal judge in Texas blocked the guidelines from being enforced. And in February 2017, the Trump administration rescinded the Obama-era guidelines, leaving it to the states to set their own policies. I also learned that the ACLU had sent threatening letters to schools stating that it is against the law to disclose a student's gender identity, even to their parents. But this letter appears to misunderstand federal law. The Federal Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act requires that schools allow parents to inspect and review their child's education records as long as the child is under 18. My daughter told me that the school social worker was advising her about halfway houses because he thought we did not support her. The social worker confirmed this when I scheduled a meeting with him to discuss it. This felt like a horrifying attempt to encourage our daughter to run away from home. We had our daughter evaluated by a psychologist approved by the school district. He told us that it is very clear that our daughter's sudden transgender identity was driven by her underlying mental health conditions, but would only share his thoughts off the record because he feared the potential backlash he would receive. In the report he submitted to us and the school, he did not include these concerns that he would only share in person. A national policy epidemic. In my attempts over the past several years to get help for my daughter, what I have learned has shocked me. The National Education Association has partnered with the Human Rights Campaign and other groups to produce materials advocating automatic affirmation of identities, name changes, and pronouns, regardless of parents' concerns. In 18 states and the District of Columbia, including the state of Illinois, there are conversion therapy bans which prevent therapists from questioning a child's gender identity. No wonder my daughter's therapist would only speak to me off the record. All right, family, so we have national organizations who are giving this policy to the schools, and they are drafting materials to create this tsunami of confusion amongst our young people. They are being shaped into a system and a society likened to Sodom and Gomorrah. Professional mental health or psychiatric and psychological therapists cannot question a child's identity in terms of their gender. There are only two genders, male and female. We are up against a force that is unseen but very powerful, family. Let us be vigilant. And we continue. Some agencies like the New Jersey Department of Education warn school districts to be mindful of disputes between children and their parents over gender identity. The department's transgender student guidance document refers educators to the state's child abuse, neglect, and missing children's webpage, suggesting that the school staff might be encouraged to report parents if they disagree with their child transitioning. All right, family, that is very powerful. So the state and the schools have enacted a mechanism which you do not even see because you are in the midst of effective parenting, instilling right from wrong, good and bad, providing the guidance and the diligence due to our children to make them respectful and productive citizens in society. If it is determined you don't agree with this alternative lifestyle that these young people are more than likely experimenting with, you can be reported for child abuse, neglect at the Missing Children's webpage. We are under attack as the sole citizens of this society. When parents are willing to go along with their child's transitioning, the process can move at a frightening pace. Doctors with the Endocrine Society rewrote the guidelines for treating young patients who say they are transgender in order to give hormone treatments to children younger than 16 years old. So now, family, that opens up a whole new industry for doctors for these major physical surgeries on these still growing bodies, and then to assign a continuing many long year treatment plan for hormone therapy that is more money, more money, more money. So the doctors would not be so uninclined not to participate, even at the silent level. Even more concerning, surgeries such as mastectomies and orchiotomies, that's the removal of the breast and or the removal of the testicles, are performed on teenagers. So, fam, we already know as the cognitive adults that your brain doesn't fully grow and close up and mature until you're around the age of 22 or 23. 1 year after you are given the ability to drink alcohol in society. So you still are not technically a competent adult until your brain fully fuses and matures. And the society is now allowing major surgeries, the removal of the breasts and the testicles from our teenagers. Parents are afraid to speak out. Through all this, I've learned that I am not alone. Many parents, just like my wife and me, are often afraid to speak out because we are told we are transphobic bigots, simply because we do not believe our children were born into the wrong body. When our daughter returned to high school to finish her senior year, I contacted the principal to let him know I expected her legal name to be used at graduation. Once again, the school refused to honor my request. And family, the child is still under 18, under the care of this family. And the learning institution that is funded by tax dollars is in opposition to his requests. Now, thanks in large part to my daughter's school, my daughter is more convinced than ever that she is a boy and that testosterone may be necessary for her to become her authentic self. She turned 18 in late June, and life-altering, dangerous testosterone injections are just one informed consent away. She can turn to any one of Illinois' 17 Planned Parenthood clinics for cheap and easy access. No extensive mental health assessment will be required, and there will be nothing I can do to stop her. So family, we got a very concerned brother parent here named Jay Keck. He is out in suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. He is dealing with a major barrier, impediment, and spiritual challenge within his home, with his seed, with his offspring. It has been determined that she suffers from mental challenges with her autism, and then she was persuaded within her mental development that she is not she. And because of the need for our teenagers and our young ones to have functions and relationships and assessments amongst their peers, the peer pressure is very hard. And once they get into that train or that clique or that club or on that team, then they become to take on the tenets and the spirit of those associations. So it is very dangerous out here on a spiritual level, family. We have a prevailing wicked spirit of sodomy in this society, in the American shores. We must be ever more clear, ever more attentive to our children's schools. What are they being taught? As we are at our places of employment for 6 to 12 hours plus, they are being indoctrinated into some of these elements. Do they go along with your family's beliefs, your family's philosophies, your family's practices? Transgenderism is a mental disorder. It should be treated as such. Our holy Creator has so designated our existence into the carnal containers by His own design, to which He gives us His Holy Spirit of life. There are no mistakes of your existence. Male and female He created in His image. As much as this tidal wave and this torrent and this treacherous travesty is travailing upon us, our voices must not become silent. We are saving our children. We are saving ourselves. We are saving our souls in society. We must save the babies to have more babies. And family, if we do not get upon this wickedness and stamp it out and extinguish it and quench it, this satanic, sodomite, homosexual, transgender agenda, we may not have grandbabies. And family, we shall continue our crusade on the path of righteousness for our soul's salvation. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit.